In the previous videos, we have talked about what water fasting is, why it works, and what the Sedona environment offers to the practice. In this video, we want to give you something more specific and more immediately useful. A complete, honest map of what you actually experience day by day, week by week during a prolonged water fast. This is the video we wish every fasting guest had watched before they arrived, because the most common source of difficulty during an extended fast is not the physical experience itself. It is the lack of a frame for understanding what that experience means. When a guest on day 2 wakes up with a headache and nausea and diminishing energy, they have two possible interpretations. Something is wrong, or this is exactly what the body does during the fuel transition. The first interpretation can end a fast. The second allows a guest to move through it with trust. We want you to have that second interpretation completely before you arrive, so that when each phase of the fast arrives, you recognize it, not as a surprise, but as a landmark on a path you already know. Let us walk it together. Every prolonged water fast moves through 5 distinct phases. Phase 1, the fuel transition. Days 1 through 3 of a prolonged water fast are the most biologically demanding. The body is depleting its glycogen stores, that's glucose stored in the liver and muscles. Insulin is falling towards its physiological floor, and the metabolic machinery is shifting from glucose to ketone production. This transition typically completes within 48 to 72 hours, at which point the body has adapted to running primarily on fat-derived ketone bodies. Blood sugar stabilizes at a lower healthy level. Ketone production begins. So what happens in your body? The fuel transition is the most physically challenging phase for most guests. Common experiences include persistent hunger, often peaking around 18 to 36 hours, then diminishing significantly once ketosis is established. Headache, particularly occipital, back of the head, as glucose levels normalize. Fatigue and reduced stamina, mild irritability or emotional sensitivity, and occasionally nausea, lightheadedness on standing, or difficulty concentrating. These symptoms are real, and they are temporary, and they are the body's normal adaptation response. They are not signs of danger. So what you may experience, our medical team monitors vital signs, hydration, and electrolyte status through phase 1. Your physician will check in with you every morning. Your fasting guide is available around the clock. Additional pure water is encouraged. Gentle rest is a primary recommendation. No activity beyond slow walking, and the team is watching for any response that falls outside the expected range and will adjust the approach if needed. So how does our team support you? Well, this is the hardest part. You are on day 2, your head hurts, you're tired, and you are wondering if you can do this. You can. What you're feeling is the body completing its most metabolically demanding transition. It is almost done. Something is about to change, so hold on. So what do you hold on to? This is the transition. What you're feeling has purpose. The hunger, the fatigue, the doubt. They are signs your body is changing fuels. You don't need to feel good, you only need to stay. This phase ends, hold on. All right, phase 2, adaptation and deepening ketosis. This occurs between day 4 through 7. The fuel transition is complete. The body is now operating efficiently on ketone bodies, a cleaner, more stable fuel that crosses the blood-brain barrier and provides neuroprotective energy to the brain. Insulin has reached its physiological floor, triggering maximum activation of autophagy, the body's cellular self-cleaning mechanism. Glucagon is elevated, facilitating ongoing fat metabolism. Growth hormone rises during fasting, supporting protein sparing and cellular repair. The body's metabolic state is now, for the first time, fully fasted. So what happens in your body? The contrast with phase 1 is often striking. The hunger that characterized the first 2 to 3 days typically diminishes significantly or disappears entirely. The ketone-adapted body no longer sends urgent hunger signals in the same way. Energy stabilizes, often at a level that surprises guests after the exhaustion of their first phase. A specific quality of mental clarity arrives, sharp, quiet, and clean. Many guests describe it as thinking from a different place or noticing space between thoughts. Some emotional sensitivity continues as the nervous system adjusts. So what you may experience? Morning check-in continue. Lab work may be drawn to assess ketone levels, electrolytes, and other markers. The physician begins refining the understanding of how your specific body is responding. Activity may gently increase. Slow walking, labyrinth practice, gentle yoga if appropriate. The fasting guide begins working more deeply with your interior experience. This is where the relationship between guest and guide and physician deepens. So how our team supports you? You have made it through the mountain's steepest section. This is not yet the summit, but the path is measurably easier. The clarity arrives now, and something many guests describe as unlike any mental state they have experienced before. It is the quieting of the metabolic noise of constant feeding. It is what your mind feels when it is not managing your digestion. So this is what to hold on to. Something has shifted. Notice the quiet. The urgency is gone. Your body has adapted. Let that be enough. No forcing, no striving, just remain here. All right, up next, phase 3, immune recalibration and the turning point, days 7 through 14. As the fast extends through the first week and into the second, the immune system undergoes its most significant recalibration. Research published in Cell Stem Cell documents that extended fasting of 72 or more hours triggers apoptosis, programmed cell death, senescent white blood cells, followed by regeneration of fresh immune cells of hemopoietic stem cells. IGF-1 falls to its lowest levels associated with reduced cellular aging and improved immune regulation. Inflammatory markers continue their decline. The immune system is, in a meaningful sense, being partially rebuilt. What happens in your body? This is often where guests describe the shift, the specific experiential turning point that many guests have described. The specific quality of this shift varies by guest, but common elements include a noticeable reduction in physical discomfort, inflammation, joint pain, and swelling, a noticeable reduction in physical discomfort, inflammation, joint pain, and swelling, a deepening of the mental clarity established in phase 2, an emotional quality of settledness that is distinct from ordinary calm, a sense of physical lightness that has nothing to do with weight and everything to do with the body no longer carrying what it was carrying. Energy is often higher in this phase than any other point in the fast. What you may experience, the medical team is now working with a specific picture of your body's response to the fast, not a generic protocol, but a continuous, refined understanding of what your body needs at this stage. Lab monitoring continues. The fasting guide's role expands. This is when the deepest conversations often happen, when guests begin articulating what is opening in them. Community deepens. The shared experience of having passed through the early difficulty together creates bonds that persist long after guests leave. How our team supports you? If you came with a body carrying significant inflammation, significant immune dysfunction, or the specific burden of a serious illness, this is where many guests first feel that something fundamental has changed. Not cured, not resolved, but shifted. The body is showing you what it can do when given what it needs. What to hold on to? This is the turning point. Things are changing direction, even if subtle. Less pain, more calm. It matters. Your body is recalibrating. Stay with it. Phase 4, deep repair and metabolic renewal. Days 14 through 21 and beyond. The extended fast beyond 2 weeks enters the most profound phase of metabolic and cellular repair. Stem cell activity increases. Mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new functional mitochondria to replace old damaged ones, is documented during the extended fasted state. Inflammatory markers continue their decline. The body's regenerative capacity is at its peak. This phase produces the most significant changes in disease markers, energy, and the quality of cellular function. It is available only to those who have passed through phase 1, 2, and phase 3. What happens in your body? The second and third weeks of an extended fast are often paradoxically easier than the first. The body is deeply adapted. The metabolic noise has quieted. What arrives in this phase is frequently described by guests as the most unusual and the most profound experience of the entire fast. A quality of presence, clarity, a physical ease that they have not known before. The body is not struggling, it is working purposefully, efficiently, and with a depth that many guests can feel in a way that they cannot fully articulate, but that they recognize as important. What you may experience. The physician's role in phase 4 is that of a careful steward. The body is doing extraordinary work. The medical team's primary task is to verify that nothing in the fast progress requires adjustments, to calibrate and document the changes that are occurring, and to begin laying the groundwork for the refeeding process that will follow. The fasting guide continues daily support. The community of fasting guests, many of whom have been walking this path together, is at its most connected. How our team supports you. You have arrived somewhere that most people never reach. Not because they couldn't, but because they didn't know it was here. The body in deep extended fasting, supported and supervised and given the conditions it needs, is doing something that no external therapy can replicate. You are witnessing your own biology. Be present for it. What to hold on to? Nothing to push. The work is happening. The clarity, the steadiness. It's your body unobstructed. Let it be. That's enough. Okay, we're on to phase 5, preparation for the return. The final 2 to 3 days before breaking a fast, the body remains in the full fasting state, but the medical team begins its assessment of refeeding readiness, electrolyte status, lab values, vital sign patterns, the guest's physical and emotional state. The reintroduction of food after an extended fast requires as much care as the fast itself. Refeeding syndrome, the dangerous electrolyte shift that can occur when food is introduced too quickly after a prolonged fast, is a real risk. Proper management of this transition is among the most clinically important things the medical team does. What happens in your body? Many guests describe the final days before breaking a fast as among the most peaceful of the entire experience. The body has completed its deepest work. There is a quality of quiet satisfaction, of a body that has done something remarkable and knows it. Anticipation of food is present, but typically gentle. The ferocious hunger of the first days has long since been replaced by something more selective and more appreciative. Many guests describe thinking about specific simple foods, a piece of fruit, broth, a cucumber, with a reverence they have never felt for food before. What you may experience. The medical team conducts a thorough pre-feeding assessment. The feeding protocol is designed individually. The pace, the specific foods, the monitoring schedule based on the guest's lab values, the length of the fast, and their clinical picture. The guide supports the emotional dimension of the ending, which is often more complex than guests expect. Breaking a prolonged fast is a significant transition. The team holds that transition with the same care as every other phase of the journey. Watch video 7 for the complete refeeding guide. How our team supports you. The fast is not over when you stop fasting. The refeeding process is part of the practice. Honor it with the same care and the same patience you have given the fast itself. What you have done here is extraordinary. How you end it matters as much as how you sustained it. What to hold on to? This is a transition, not an end. Return slowly. What you've gained is still with you. Begin again with awareness. We want to give you something more granular, a day-by-day account of the first 2 weeks. Not a prescription, your body will have its own timing, but a reference so that when day 6 arrives, you can say, I know where I am. Day 1 of the fast, last food digestion. Glycogen stores begin to deplete. Insulin still elevated, but falling. Hunger present and familiar. Energy may feel normal or slightly reduced. Some anticipation and anxiety. Orientation to the retreat, to your physician and to your team. First full day of rest and settling. Day 2, glycogen depletion acceleration, insulin falling, early ketone production beginning, possible blood sugar fluctuation. Hunger often intensifies, headache common, fatigue may increase, emotional sensitivities are possible. Rest completely, drink water consistently. The team is monitoring. This is expected and temporary. Day 3, glycogen largely depleted, ketosis beginning to establish, hunger hormone shifting, metabolic transition is in progress. Often the hardest day for many guests. Fatigue, headache, nausea. Some guests feel better than day 2. Individual variation is wide. This is the threshold. The worst is nearly over. Extra rest, extra water, team check-ins. You are so close. Day 4, ketosis is established. Insulin at physiological floor. Autophagy deepening. Hunger signals shifting significantly. For many guests, a noticeable shift. Hunger quiets or changes character. Mental clarity begins to emerge. Energy begins to stabilize. Their transition is complete. What you feel now, the quietness of hunger, the emerging clarity, is the fast beginning its real work. Day 5, full ketotic adaptation. Autophagy at high activity. Inflammatory markers beginning their descent. Brain running on ketones. Mental clarity often distinctly present. Physical energy more stable. Emotional landscape often quieter. Body feels different in quality. This is the beginning of what guests describe as the fast, the state many came for. The body is doing what it knows how to do. Day 6, ketones at stable therapeutic levels. Autophagy sustained, cortisol reduction accelerating in sedona environment, and sleep deepening. Many guests report their best sleep of the fast. Energy is steady. The rhythm of the day begins to feel natural and even pleasurable. Allow yourself to inhabit this. The difficulty is behind you. What is arriving now is worth being present for. Day 7, 1 week complete. Immune recalibration beginning. Old immune cells entering apoptosis. Repair systems at full expression. This is the start of the milestone awareness. Many guests feel strong and clear. Some experience a brief dip as the immune shift begins, often profound quality of settledness. A week of fasting is extraordinary. Your body has done something remarkable. Honor it with continued rest and presence. Day 8, immune renewal accelerating. Fresh immune cells beginning production from stem cells. IGF-1 falling to its lowest levels. Energy is often high. Mental clarity often its sharpest to date. Physical inflammation noticeably reduced for many guests. This is the immune reset in progress. The feelings of clarity and lightness many guests describe. This is what it feels like. Day 9, sustained immune recalibration. Inflammatory cascade continues its decline. Cellular repair at high activity throughout. Consistent clarity and energy. The rhythm of the fasted state feels established and familiar, and that community deepens. Your body is rebuilding its immune system. You can't feel it directly, but the lightness and energy are its expression. Okay, we're on day 10, mid-second week. All phase 3 processes at full expression. Mitochondrial function improving. Cellular debris clearance at high levels. Many guests describe this as one of the most beautiful days of the fast. Clear, light, present, deeply at peace. You are in the middle of something extraordinary. Stay. Day 11, continue deep repair. Anti-inflammatory processes sustained. Growth hormone elevated. Protein sparing mechanisms are activated. The energy continues stable or increases. Sleep remains deep. Emotional quality often profound. Old patterns may surface and release. The emotional dimensions of the fast deepens here. This is the body and the mind clearing together. Be with it. Day 12, sustained cellular renewal. Mitochondrial biogenesis beginning. Stem cell activity elevated. Deep metabolic adaptation. Physical ease, mental quiet, the specific piece of the body that is working purposefully and without obstruction. This is the vitalistic promise expressed in lived experience. The body healing itself. You are inside it. Day 13, approaching the 2-week threshold. All repair systems at their most active. Accumulated cellular debris sustainably cleared. Often a day of profound gratitude. Guests frequently describe wanting to stay. The body feels genuinely different from arrival. What you're feeling is the difference between the body you arrived with and the body you are becoming. And now day 14, 2 weeks complete. The most significant cellular work has occurred. Phase 4 beginning if fasting continues beyond this point. The milestone. Most guests who reach day 14 describe it as transformative. Energy, clarity, emotional settledness, all at their peak to date. 2 weeks, your immune system has been partially rebuilt. Your cells are cleaner. Your metabolism has been reset. What comes next goes deeper still. What you've just seen is the arc of the first 2 weeks, not as a rigid timeline, but as a map. Some of you may move through these phases exactly as described. Others will experience them a little earlier or a little later. Both are normal. What matters is that there is an underlying order to the process. The difficult moments have a purpose. The easier moments have a biological foundation, and each phase builds upon the one before it. So as you move through your own experience, you don't have to guess what's happening. You can recognize it. And with that understanding, you can stay oriented, supported, and confident in what your body is doing. Now let's move into the next part. We want to address directly the experiences that tend to cause the most concern during a fast. Not to dismiss them, but to explain what they mean biologically. Because when you understand what your body is doing, the experience changes. What might feel alarming at first becomes something you can recognize, interpret, and move through with confidence. As I walk you through this material, we will cover what you may feel, what it means when it typically happens, and what to do. Let's start with hunger. In the first 1 to 3 days, hunger is expected. This is driven by a hormone called ghrelin, which raises as your body uses up its stored glucose and prepares to shift into ketosis. This is not an emergency signal, it is a transition signal. Hunger usually peaks somewhere between 18 to 36 hours and then drops off quite sharply once ketosis is established. What helps here is simple: hydration, rest, and perspective. This phase is temporary, and for most people, it passes completely. Headaches can often occur early on. These are most often due to your body adjusting to the lower blood glucose levels, mild dehydration, or small electrolyte shifts. If you are consuming caffeine before the fast, withdrawal can also play a role. This typically peaks around day 2, and the response is straightforward: increase your water intake, rest, and let us monitor you. If a headache is persistent or severe, we address it immediately. You may also feel fatigue or low energy in the first few days. This is because the shift from glucose metabolism to fat metabolism to ketones requires real biochemical work. Your body is actively retooling how it produces energy. This tends to resolve by day 4 to 5. It is important to understand this is not weakness. This is your body working. The correct response is rest, not push through. Energy returns once that transition is complete. Some people experience mild nausea early in the fast. This can be related to the onset of the ketone production, blood sugar changes, or the body beginning to clear metabolic byproducts. It typically occurs within the first 1 to 3 days and usually is brief. If it happens, slow your water intake, rest. We monitor this closely, and anything beyond mild symptoms is evaluated right away. You may notice dizziness, especially when standing up quickly. During the fast, blood pressure naturally lowers. When you stand up too fast, your body may need a moment to adjust, which can create a brief lightheaded feeling. This can occur throughout the fast, but is most common early on. The solution is simple: move slowly when changing positions. We monitor blood pressure daily, and anything significant is addressed. Another change you might notice is a coating on the tongue or a shift in taste. This is a normal part of the body eliminating waste through mucous membranes. At the same time, many people notice that their sense of taste becomes sharper. This often appears between days 3 and 14 and then resolves. It is not something to worry about. Gentle tongue scraping is optional, and many people actually find the heightened sense of taste to be one of the most surprising benefits. You may also feel more sensitive to cold. As your metabolic rate adjusts and your body prioritizes repair over heat production, you may notice you feel cooler than usual. This can happen throughout the fast, and especially during the first couple of weeks. Layering clothing and staying warm is usually all that is needed. This phase passes as your body adapts. There's also emotional experiences. When you remove the constant rhythm of eating, planning, and stimulation, there is space. And in that space, thoughts and emotions can surface more clearly. This is not a complication. It is often a meaningful part of the process. There is no fixed timeline for this, though it can become more noticeable in the second week You're not expected to navigate this alone. This is exactly why guidance and the support are part of the experience. Some people report very vivid dreams. Fasting can deepen sleep and heighten nervous system sensitivity, leading to dreams that are more intense, more detailed, and more memorable. This can occur throughout the fast and often becoming more pronounced after day 5. If you notice this, it can be helpful to keep a journal nearby. Many people find these dreams very meaningful. And finally, something that surprises almost everyone: the hunger disappears. By around day 4 or 5, once ketosis is fully established, many people find that the hunger they expected to struggle with is simply gone. This is because your body is now efficiently using stored fat for fuel. The urgent signals to seek food quiets down. This is not starvation, it is adaptation. And for many, this moment changes their entire understanding of what the body is capable of. Every one of these experiences has a biological explanation. Nothing here is random and nothing here is without meaning. Our role is to monitor, guide, and ensure that what you're experiencing stays within a safe, expected range, while helping you understand what your body is doing at each stage. That understanding is what allows you to move through this process with trust. We want to step back from the detail for a moment and offer you a complete arc, because the purpose of this video has not been to scare you or to prepare you for suffering. It has been to give you the knowledge that allows the difficult moments to be moments of informed trust rather than panic. Here is the arc as we have witnessed it in hundreds of guests across 7 days to 30 days and beyond. You arrive, you are nervous, perhaps frightened. The first days are hard. The fuel transition demands something from you that you were not sure you had. And then, around day 4 or 5, for most guests, something changes. The hunger quiets, the clarity arrives, the body stops fighting the fast and begins working with it. By the end of the first week, you are somewhere you did not know was available to you. The immune system is rebuilding, the inflammation is quieting, the mental noise that has been running in the background of your life, the anxiety of illness, the metabolic demands of constant eating, the general busyness of an ordinary body has stilled enough to reveal something underneath it, something that feels important, that feels somehow like you. The second week goes deeper, and somewhere in the middle of that second week, most guests experience what they later described as the most significant physical and psychological shift of the entire fast. Not a cure, not a resolution, a shift, a sense that the body has crossed a threshold it has been trying to reach for a very long time. It has arrived somewhere that it needed to be. The guests who complete extended fasts of 21 or 30 days describe something that is difficult to communicate and that they do not expect. Not just the biological markers that have changed, though those are real and often dramatic, something else. A quality of relationship with their own body that has been permanently altered. A trust, a knowledge of what the body is capable of when it is given what it needs. A direct, embodied understanding of the principles that this entire series has built upon. Your body knows how to heal. We are here to help it remember. And that knowledge, once gained in the way that the extended fast provides it, does not leave. It lives in the body. It changes how guests eat, how they rest, how they relate to their illness, and how they understand their own capacity for healing. We have watched this transformation again and again. We believe it is one of the most important things we offer. We want to close this video with honesty because you deserve it and because this practice demands it. Not every guest has the experience we have just described. Some fasts are harder than others. Some bodies resist the fuel transition longer. Some guests encounter emotional material that is more demanding than they anticipated. Some medical pictures require us to modify or shorten a fast that was planned to go longer. We cannot promise you a specific outcome. We never have. What we can promise you is that our team will be with you every moment of whatever your fast produces, and that we have the experience, the judgment, and the genuine care to respond to whatever your body needs. We also want to say this: if you watch this video and you feel not fear, but something else, a recognition, a sense that you already know this path, or that your body has been waiting for this permission, supervision. Pay attention to that. In our experience, the people who arrive at Sedona Wellness Retreat for an extended water fast are rarely here by accident. They have been drawn by something their body already knows. The next video in this series covers medical supervision and the safety in detail. We recommend watching it before you decide, and then when you are ready, we are here.